Here's a staggering number, 1,752, the number of people who died from overdose in Maricopa County alone in 2020. Staggering. That number nearly double the numbers reported in 2019. And we've seen overdoses in teens increase as well. In fact, nearly 80% of kids in Arizona who are misusing prescription drugs get those drugs from family or friends. So how do we stop it? Shane Watson is with Not My Kid, joining us this morning to talk about how to talk about drugs with your children. Thank you so much, Shane. It's such an important topic, and it's just such a different world now. I mean, I grew up with your brain on drugs with the frying egg in the pan, and everything seems so removed. And now the dangers are within our own home. Where do you begin?
Begin early. That's how you begin. The average age of first use in the United States for kids is about 11 to 13 years old. So where you begin is at that young age before they're approaching junior high school. Ask them what they've already seen. Ask them what they've already heard. And if there's a news report about like the overdoses we're talking about today, or a celebrity overdoses or gets arrested, and that's on your TV and you're standing there with your child, that's an organic window to begin that conversation and say, what do you think about that?
We've heard so much about the risks of fentanyl being laced in different medications, and people just, the result being an accidental overdose because they have zero idea that how risky whatever it is that they're taking. What are some of the trends that you are seeing or hearing reports of that we need to be most on the lookout for?
Fentanyl, it's exactly what you said, but it's showing up in counterfeit pills that look like oxycodone, hydrocodone, they look like Xanax, they look like Klonopin. And if someone has a pill press, they can make a pill the right shape, the right color, the right imprint. And if someone has not gotten that directly from a pharmacy, they have no guarantee that it is what they think it is. And we have seen young people overdosing on very convincing fakes made solely from fentanyl. And so fentanyl in fake pills is really what's on our radar here in Arizona right now.
And that's really terrifying because that is a one-time mistake that ends it all. It's very hard to communicate that to a young person, because they feel immortal.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, not only can a one-time mistake be a fatal mistake, the lethal dose for an average size adult male when it comes to fentanyl is 3 milligrams. It's 30 for heroin. How many things in life can we say are more dangerous than heroin? Fentanyl is one of them, and you mentioned kids have low perception of risk when it comes to what they think are prescription drugs because they're prescribed by a doctor, they're dispensed by a pharmacy, and they see their family take them. So we need to teach our kids that prescription drugs are just as dangerous as street drugs.
And maybe what's the language to use around that? I guess it is kind of challenging if somebody is utilizing a medication in their own home and, whether they think that their child is aware of it or not, it can seem, I guess, maybe hypocritical, like, okay, I'm taking this is okay for me, not for you. How do you address that and make sure that the message is heard?
That's a really good question. There's two ways to do that. Number one, explain that when medication is prescribed by a doctor, it's a different thing than taking it recreationally. But even then, you have to take it in the right dose. You can't take it too much. You can't take it too frequently or too large of quantities. And then number two, what you can explain is prescription drugs, street drugs, and alcohol all affect the developing brain in a very different and more damaging way than they do the fully developed brain of an adult.
Really great advice. So important. Tough conversations, but they have to be had. Resources, can we get them on your website?
Yes, notmykid.org. Plenty of resources. If you're looking to connect with professional help, we've got it right there as well.
Shane, thank you so much for your time.